I have been on for 58 weeks. The first 4 weeks was 2.5 milligrams, and the rest of the time it's been 5 milligrams. I haven't had any side effects or anything. When I initially moved up, that is just because that was the titration schedule. 2.5 was considered a starting dose, to get you acclimated to the medication. And then I went up to 5. And since I did well on that, I stayed on that this entire time. Let's see. My highest weight was 216 pounds. My starting weight on Zepbound was 183 pounds. And it took me 26 weeks to lose 50 pounds. I see that number a lot and in different groups. So if you've come here to see how quickly you can lose weight, I lost 50 pounds in 26 weeks, and I don't recommend. The first month, and this was on 2.5, I lost 18 pounds. And, I've said this over and over again. It was muscle. It was 14 pounds of muscle, so only 4 pounds of fat. This is why I am a big advocate of slow and steady, because when you're losing weight that quickly, you're not losing a bunch of fat. All right, so let's get into the rest of it. So, okay, I've been on the 5 milligrams and I met with my provider last week and we've decided to go to 2.5. So that is what I have here today, 2.5 milligrams. And that is going to be my new dose. And the plan is just to continue weekly. Now, I will tell you that I did not take an injection last week because I hadn't met with my provider and there were some other underlying things going on. But so this is me with no dose, right? Like I didn't have a dose last week. I haven't had any food noise. Nothing came back. Everything has been just as it has been this entire time. So I'm not going to press my luck. I've got my 2.5. I got that filled on, it's either Thursday or Friday. So I'm ready for that. And if you're new, then I want to show you what the injection process is. It's super easy. I used to do these weekly and then I realized like, oh, I don't need to do this weekly. But I want you to be a part of this going back to 2.5. So these medications, right? And this is the name brand, the pen. I want you to see that it comes locked. And I'm not sure if you can tell. Wait, opposite. It's locked. I don't unlock it until I have it next to my skin. So I have this process that I do every time, and I'm a creature of habit. So I have my alcohol. I'm going to step back just so you can see me do the injection. Okay. So I'm going to move the microphone out of the way. And we don't want it to be blurry. So let's move it completely out of the way. All right. I'm going to do my left side. So here I go. I just take the alcohol and I wipe. Then I take the cap off. Then I put it next to my skin. Then I unlock it. Hopefully you can hear all of this. And then I inject. And I have only felt it once. It went in. You'll hear a series of 2 clicks. I probably talked through them. So I'm waiting, and that's it. Put the cap back on. I usually check the area to see if there's any blood. Just a tiny bit today. And just like that, it's done. So hopefully you can see that this is a really easy process. If you're feeling apprehensive about the injection, just know it's really easy. And I think at the most you'll feel a pinch, but it's nothing that's like, it's not even like getting a flu shot. So, all right. I will keep you posted on how the 2.5 is doing for me. I anticipate everything is going to go well, and I have some notes just so I can stay on target. So this may be a little bit repetitive. I want to just say that the highest weight was 216 pounds, starting weight 183. My lowest weight on this medication was 126 pounds, and I've just been maintaining 128. Okay, so let's talk about maintenance. Maintenance for me is basically the same thing I did to lose weight. I I shoot for 1,800 calories a day. I eat a whole food plant-based diet, and that is just a preference. I am a vegan, and I will continue to say that being a vegan doesn't equate to being healthy. Being a vegan is about, the animals and the environment. It has nothing to do with losing weight. So I just want to lead with that because I was a vegan when I started this journey and I was very unhealthy and overweight. Okay, eating a whole food plant-based diet, I get a good amount of fiber. I'm probably getting between 40 and 60 grams, leaning more towards 60 on a daily basis. I drink a gallon of water a day. I don't really drink anything else other than an ounce of orange juice daily, and that's what I put my creatine in. Started the creatine in December. So you can go back and see previous videos where I talk about these things. I'm just trying to do like a really quick recap before I move forward. Now, I have been strength training for most of this journey, right? I started the injection, my first injection on February 21st, 2024. And then on March 4th, that's when I started strength training. And so I've just been consistent. I've been consistent with that. And it's a big deal for me because this is not something that I have had a history of doing, right? I was the person that was the super starter, like all in, I'm doing everything. What do I need? What can I buy? And I would be out of gas. A lot of times I didn't even make it a week. There's some times that I made it longer, but for the most part, I just didn't stay consistent because I was trying to do too much. And I didn't have a defined why. You know what I mean? Other than, oh, I just want to be smaller. That was not enough to push me through when things got tough. And the truth is, it's going to get tough. This is not something, even with the medication, it's not super easy. And that's okay, right? We want to put in that work and do what we need to do. So I'm not saying that you have to go out here and become a bodybuilder or, anything like that. But I want you to get away from, don't do what you've done in the past. So even if you did something in the past and it worked, you're here today. And that means that that wasn't sustainable for you. And something happened where you didn't keep going. So we don't want to go back down that path. You can take some of the good points from it, but if you were being restrictive, like barely eating or over exercising, because there's a such thing as exercising too much. You want to, my advice to you is you want to do something that you can continue to do. Don't look at it with an endpoint in mind, right? Don't say that I'm going to do this until I get here. Don't do that. Because when you get to that point, you're not going to have anywhere else to go from there. Or it's going to be such a shock, right? A lot of times, losing the weight is not necessarily the hardest part, it's maintaining it. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job maintaining. And I just really believe it's mindset and habit change. So, as far as strength training, I have done, various programs. The two YouTubers that I was following for that, Strong Sisters United. When I first started off, I did 4 of her programs, and one of them twice. So a total of 5 programs, right? Then I moved over to Lift with C, and I did 3 of her programs, and then one of them twice. So one of them was a paid program, and that's kind of what I started this year off with. It was called the Muscle Burns Fat Challenge, and that went pretty well. So I just now finished up yesterday the last day of the Body Recomp 2.0 series, and that was a 6-week program. And the program that I'm going to next, and I have notes for that, so give me one moment. I am doing it's called the Standing Strength series. So these are 15-minute exercises, super easy, super easy. Now, I haven't seen them, but I'm saying that you could do 15 minutes. Even if you're someone and you say you don't have time, you could do 15 minutes, right? And it's supposed to be designed for beginners, but I feel like the term beginner could be used. You could still do that, but you can use higher weights or do more reps or whatever is in your comfort level. But I want you to know that if you're interested in getting into strength training, I would check out Kira Mitlow, and this program will be premiering tomorrow. So it's 5 days. You have lower body, upper body. Just check it out. Just check it out. It's going to be 5 days. One of those days is an ab day. And this is, again, a standing series. So if you don't have mats and stuff like that, don't worry. You don't have to lay down on the floor. So I'm trying to find other things that you can do too and be able to find it doable, challenging, but doable. Okay. Get away from the mindset of how fast can I lose weight and get more into the mindset of how can I make sustainable changes that I can continue on for the rest of my life, because I know that you don't want to keep doing this over and over and over again. I know you don't. I didn't either. But we've got to do things differently because we want a different outcome this time. So, okay, I've gone over my weight. I think I told you I'm 5'7", mother of five. Not that that really has any relevance, because it wasn't having children that caused me to gain weight. I was able to drop weight easily after them without trying. It's when I hit my mid 30s where things just, early 30s where things just started kind of getting out of control. And that was because of a lifetime of unhealthy habits. You know, just because someone is skinny, which is what I used to be, that doesn't equal healthy either. Everything doesn't is not defined by the number on the scale or the size clothes that you're wearing. You could have someone that looks, you know, good, but they can be super unhealthy and you wouldn't know that. So I want you to not focus on how fast or slow things are going. I want you to get into a habit of practicing these new habits, and don't try to overhaul everything at one time. I know it's enticing. Don't do that. Don't do that. Take your time. And you'll hear me say that often because I really believe that you need to take your time. Previous weight loss journeys, I didn't take my time and I ended back up. I ended up gaining weight. Even after losing a substantial amount, I gained a substantial amount back. And so that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to prevent you um, from getting caught up in this cycle of I'm going to do all these things and then you expect results right away. It doesn't happen that way. Our bodies just don't operate that way. Okay. So try to stay away from the extreme things. Something else, I go live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I would love for you to join me there. This is a chance. The reason I love going live is I love the real time engagement and interaction with the community. And the whole point of doing this is to foster a community, right? So people don't feel alone or left out or like you're doing something wrong. You'll see other people going through things and you're like, okay, so this isn't abnormal. Okay, how did they tackle this? Well, I don't really like the way they did it. Maybe this person, I feel like I can align with this person. So that's the whole point of that. We want to foster a community and make sure whatever you're consuming, put it into action. Okay. We want to be about action. We don't want to just be talking about things or just watching what people do and this is what I'm going to do. And on Monday, we don't have to start over on Monday, you know? And if you're a Monday person, hey, today is Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday. Now, if you're not watching this on Sunday, March 30th, just know you don't have to wait for Monday. You don't have to wait for the first. You can start today. And if you don't have what you need, get it and start tomorrow. Okay? You've got this. The medication, for me, it has eliminated food noise, which gave me the opportunity, the ability to make healthier choices. I wasn't constantly thinking about food and what my next meal was going to be. I was able to focus on other things like strength training and other aspects of life. It's amazing how when you're so used to constantly thinking about food and that desire goes away, it's just and I've said it before, right? This huge weight off my shoulders. So if you're on this medication or you haven't started yet, just know that's a possibility. Now I realize that that doesn't happen right away for everyone. lean into the medication. If you're not hungry, right? If you don't have an appetite, you're not constantly thinking about food, you still have to eat. So figure out how you can get a balanced meal in. If you need to see a dietitian, go see a dietitian, okay? I have heard people say it's okay to not eat for a few days and just make up for it. I'm going to tell you, I'm not a professional, but I'm going to tell you don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you're eating enough. Make sure you're eating enough. You don't have to go crazy. If you have to supplement because you just absolutely, you've sat down and you've tried to eat and you just physically can't, then supplement with something. But going, eating 5, 6, 700 calories a day, that's not it. And it's not sustainable. you know you'll notice that you really don't have enough energy. So if you've been on this medication and you notice your energy is low, do an assessment. Am I eating enough? you know Make sure you're hydrated. That's important. As far as tips to use the bathroom and all of that, I don't have anything for you other than I consume a diet that is high in fiber and I drink a good amount of water. So if you've got those things dialed in, you've got your fiber dialed in, you've got your water dialed in, and you still can't go, I would recommend talking to a medical professional and getting advice from them on what you should be doing. Don't be out here buying all these supplements just because Sally and Jane said it. Figure it out by talking with your doctor. If your symptoms, your side effects are out of control, don't run to the internet to get help with that. That's a tool, but that shouldn't be your go-to. Your go-to needs to be your doctor. Okay? And that is all I have to say about that today. I just want to um just to let you know that it's okay. It's okay. You can do this. Get out of that mindset of fast, fast, fast. We got to get here, cuz it just doesn't work that way and you're going to be disappointed. Okay? I want you to remember before I go that we can share our journeys, but we should never compare them. Bye.